for parents and pupils in lower secondary education, and information about upper secondary education in Oslo. What will be covered in this presentation? A clarification of concepts, the rules for applicants, and what are the main differences for vocational programs and general studies, and programs available in Oslo only, and how does a timetable look in upper secondary, and at the end some advice on how to talk to your teenager about their career choices. Studieforberedende utdanningsprogram, general studies programs. In these 5 programs, you obtain general qualification to study at a university or college. You need to pass a range of theoretical subjects, and you go to school for 3 years. Yrkesfaglig utdanningsprogram, vocational programs. There are 10 different programs, and usually 2 years in school and then 2 years as an apprentice before you have a practical exam within your field. You can apply for relevant work as you have obtained an approved qualification. You have completed an education when you finished the vocational program and you've been an apprentice and you passed your exam. Generell studiekompetanse. General University Admission Certification. With this qualification, you need to enter higher education at college or university. Some study programs require a combination of certain science subjects as entry requirements. Admissions are based on the average grade of your certificate. Programfag, program subjects. These subjects are linked to your program. At vocational programs, these subjects are compulsory. At general studies, you select a combination. Yrkesfaglig fordypning, YFF. Vocational in-depth studies. Within each of the vocational programs, you have a subject to explore the future paths of becoming an apprentice. In many vocational programs, you are doing a placement in this subject to get experience. Praksisrettet studiekompetanse. Practical general studies. These educational programs are specific to Oslo and they give a combination of the general studies and the vocational program. So they suit students who want a more practical path to general admission to university certification. And after 3 years on this program, students can also become apprentice. Omvalg, reapply. If a student starts a program that does not suit at all, the student has the right to reapply. And this means the student can apply to a different program the following year. Y-veien, vocational path to higher education. Some universities have degrees that require that you have a specific vocational qualification. So for example, to become an electrical engineer, you need to be a qualified electrician to start with. Applying to upper secondary education. All students have the right to attend upper secondary for 3 years. This is called ungdomsrett. Applicants register at Vigo and submit their application by 1st of March. The student's final grade from lower secondary decide whether the student is admitted to his or her first choice. The students, they have the right to be admitted to one of the 3 educational programs they list on the application, but there is no right to attend a specific school. The student can list a maximum of 6 schools to each of the 3 programs. And students have the right to attend upper secondary and the right to have their right extended up to 2 years. This is if they select the wrong program. Here here are the education programs. The yellow ones are general studies, so you spend 3 years in school. They are called Art and Design and Architecture, Media and Communication, Music, Dance and Drama, Specialization in General Studies, and Sports and Physical Education. The green ones, there are 10 of them, and they are vocational programs. Agriculture, fishing and forestry, building and construction, crafts, design and product development, electrical engineering and computer technology, hairdressing, floral, interior and retail design, healthcare, childhood and youth development, information technology and media production, restaurant and food processing, sales, service and tourism, technological and industrial production. These 10 are normally spent 2 years in school and then 2 years as an apprentice. So upper secondary leads to either vocational competence or general university admission certification. The vocational competence, yrkeskompetanse, you will have completed a vocational degree and you can apply to a job within your field. You can also do a variety of further education choices. It can be linked to your field, so fagskole, mesterbrev or Y-veien can be very interesting paths to take. But you can also obtain general university admission certification with an additional year at upper secondary, påbyggsår. This is a lifelong right the student has. Or the general university admission certification, well, you are qualified to study at university level, and studies before they are completed, they vary in length, but at least you need to do 3 years to obtain a bachelor degree. Often you have to spend 5 or 6 years in higher education and then you have a specialist or master's degree. Yes, please, I would like both. There are certain programs here in Oslo that combine the two and they give practical general studies, which is a 3-year program. And as you can see from this overview, they have this opportunity at Håndverk, Design og Produktutvikling at Edvard Munch Upper Secondary. You have it in the electro and data technology at both Kuben and Elvebakken. Also within healthcare, you have 3 options. You do then 3 years in school and you have the opportunity to go to university, but you can also become an apprentice when you're finished. And you have this opportunity in information technology and media production. So you have a practical timetable, but you also have many theoretical subjects. And also 2 more options where you actually spend 4 years in school, but you are a student and an apprentice at the same time. So the options they got here at Kuben for healthcare and then construction work, you spend 4 years in school, but you also spend time as an apprentice and you do have lots of theory at school. So these combine the 2. Here are the subjects students will meet in upper secondary. Naturfag means science. Samfunnskunnskap is social science. English is English. And Norwegian, Norwegian. Geography is geography. The mathematics is divided between the theoretical or the practical mathematics. And you have the course for vocational courses, which is 3 hours a week instead of 5 hours a week. Kroppsøving means physical education. Fremmedspråk means second language. Programfag, that means subjects linked to your program, both practical and theoretical. And then you have the programfag EFF, the practical subject linked to the program, which often is a placement. So you go to a company and you spend time there. Here you can see how a timetable looks for general study programs. The top one is for studiespesialisering, and the bottom one is for kunstdesign, arkitektur, idrettsfag, medier og kommunikasjon, eller musikk, dans, drama. You can see that the timetables, they correspond very much. And this is not how it looks at every school, and very few schools have 5 hours solid of science Monday morning. But these two timetables show how the subjects are spread out over the week. And this is true to every school offering these programs. So during a week, you will have 5 hours of science, you will have 5 hours of English, 4 hours of Norwegian, and then maths for 5 hours. You choose between theoretical or practical, 2 hours of PE, and then 4 hours of either Spanish, French, German maybe, or you can have something in the evenings. Oslo offer Russian or Italian or Japanese, but you need to have a second language. The bottom one shows programfag, which is linked to the program you have applied to. So 2 subjects counting 5 hours a week will be linked to sports. If you go idrett, they will be linked to design and architecture and visual arts if you attend kunstdesign og arkitektur. So you can see your week will be filled up with the subjects that are linked to your choice of education program. Samfunnskunnskap and geography are during the first year for studiespesialisering, but they will be in your second year for these programs. It's important that 10th graders think about how they want their timetable to be when they apply for upper secondary. And now we will move on to see how a timetable looks like in the vocational programs. Here is a timetable for a vocational program. And as you can see, there are many yellow programfag. Usually they are 5 hours per subject. But as you can see, if you have applied to attend restaurant and food processing, every time it is yellow in the timetable, you will actually be in the kitchen. You'll be learning about the theoretical and practical side of that program. If you've applied for building and construction, you will actually have a hammer. You will be working in a practical way whenever you have programfag. And as an hairdressing, floral, interior and retail design, you might actually spend all of Thursday in a hairdressing salon or in a flower shop to get more in-depth knowledge about your field. You can see there are 2 hours a week of science and 5 hours a week of English. You also have maths for 3 hours a week. In year 2 in school, you have Norwegian for 4 hours a week and social science for 3 hours a week. You will have PE every year for 2 hours a week. So as you can see, the timetables, they vary quite a lot. And I think this is important to take into account when you're a 10th grader wanting to apply for upper secondary education, to think about what you want your timetable to look like. Are you confused? Well, here are some ideas how to help your teen choose upper secondary education. Spend some time exploring options. This is an important decision for your teen. Make sure you have an overview of the system and the options. Also, the teen needs information about their own interests and skills. And to make good choices, it is also necessary to know what you are not choosing. So in total, 15 different educational programs, and 3 of them should be on your application. That means you're not choosing 12 of them. Look at the various alternatives and be curious. There are many alternatives in Oslo, and do not rule out options because of prejudice. Be curious of what the programs can lead towards. Check out oslovilbli.no and visit the school's websites. Also contact rådgiver at your school to get guidance. And remember that this is your teen's decision, not yours. And look at the brochure Opplæringstilbudet I skoleåret 21-22. This brochure shows all options in Oslo. There are more than 30 alternatives for a pupil leaving 10th grade. And all schools have a copy of this brochure for each of their pupils. Here you can see what the brochure looks like. And if you have any questions, contact, as I said, the rådgiver at your school and check out Vilbli. Thank you for your attention.